Hello, my crochet friends. How are you guys doing today? So today for me, I think it's Wednesday. Sometimes I'm lucky if I know what day of the week it is. It's an extra added bonus if I know the day of the month, okay? So let's see. We are, where's my calendar? Hold on. Wednesday, July 16th, okay? Do you remember in my last weekly crochet update video, I said to you guys, I don't have any new yarn and I don't have any new books to show you. I was wrong. I totally forgot that I had a handful of yarn sitting at my computer, okay? Because like when I bring the yarn into the house, I like to label it like where I bought it, when I bought it, so this way I know how long it's been sitting around in my stash. And then I like to write down how much I spent on it, how much money I spent. So I do that with brand new yarns. I do it with yarns from the store, yarns from the internet. I do it with stuff from the thrift store, okay? I label every skein of yarn and every book that comes into my house. It's just something that I do. So when I do that, a lot of times I leave it sit at my computer, and then it can be days later. Sometimes it's weeks later before I will go and put it away. Now in the past, I've had no place to put it because you guys know I live in a tiny little house. It's only 1,200 square feet. It's got 3 bedrooms. All the bedrooms are occupied. Not all of my children have moved out. I've never had any storage for my yarn. It's always been everywhere in my house, in every bin, every box, every bag, and it's been in multiple corners in my house, okay? So now that I'm doing this whole trying to sort it and organize it and get it all together in one spot, and that spot is upstairs in a bathroom that was converted into a closet. And I eventually, at some point, 10 years down the road, I think I'd like to turn it back into a bathroom, like after the kids move out and they no longer need the closet space. So for now, I've been gathering all my yarn together. It is really nice to have it all in one spot. And I got to tell you guys, I want to thank you for your feedback on my videos for the sorting and organizing, because it has not been easy. There are days when it just flows so well, right? And everything goes according to plan. And then other days, all you want to do is sit and cry because you've got so much stuff. And how in the world did you get yourself into this, right? So I accidentally told you guys that I didn't have any yarn to show you, but I do. It turns out I did have one last shopping trip at the thrift store, and I found some good yarn, and they're all brand new yarns. They're not even partially used, and they were sitting here at my desk because I don't know if you guys remember, I said starting July 1st, I'm going to work really hard on not buying any more books or yarn from the thrift store, especially from the thrift store, because that is the biggest temptation for me. Shopping online, I can handle that a bit more than I can in the store. When I'm in the store and you find so many good bargains at the thrift store, it's so hard to leave them there. So I've been going out with my husband, and he helps, and he'll remind me, and he'll be like, you know what, you don't, not only do you not need it, if you take a minute, you don't want it either. And he's been a tremendous support system for me when we do go out, because he loves to shop at the thrift stores, okay? And he can look at everything in the store and touch everything and pick everything up and put it all right back on the shelf and walk out without buying anything. And I wish I was more like that, okay? So I've been leaning heavily on my husband to help me through this, like the mentality that he has that says, I don't need to buy this. I don't need to take this home, but I had lots of fun looking at it in the store. So I've been asking him to teach me how he does that, what's the reasoning behind it and the thinking and the thought process behind it. And he's been a big help with it, and I absolutely love him for that and for so many other things. But, okay, so I do have 5 skeins and 1 cake of yarn. We'll start with this one right here. It is Lion Brand Cupcake. And look at those colors. I mean, these colors do not say Jennie. I don't know. Let's see, is there some blue in the middle there? Yeah, let's pull a little bit of that cake out. Yeah, there's some blue in the middle there. Right? Lion Brand Cupcake, and it should be a number 3 light or DK weight. 5 ounces, 150 grams. The color is called Robin Egg. Oh, I love that. We love that. So I did get it for $2.99 on June 26th, right in under the wire before my yarn buying ban and my book buying ban. Okay, so I wrote it on the label from the thrift store. All right, then they had these two together in a bag. So Karen Simply Soft and then Red Heart Super Saver in stripes. Let's start with the Karen Simply Soft. I'd been wanting to pick these colors up anyway, before Joann's had gone out of business, and my Michaels typically, while it does have some Simply Soft, it's usually in the solid colors. So I like this color here. This is their speckles. Yeah, Karen Simply Soft Speckle. I have to go this way because of the lighting. We're in the living room today at my computer. Okay. It's way too warm to be upstairs in my bedroom to try to film a video. So this color is called Lipstick. I don't know. Does it look like lipstick? I don't do makeup, so I don't know. Is that a good color name for it? And it came in, so in the baggie, it was like $3.99 for the baggie, and it had these two in there. So they're like $2 a piece. So I have that, and I think in my stash I have the green color of this, and I think the vintage color of it. So it'd be nice if I had all the colors of this speckle that Karen Simply Soft has. And then of course the Red Heart Super Saver stripes. This is called Neon Stripes. I've had stripes before. I've had that retro color, which is the pastel, the yellow, the green, the pink, but it's also a bit neon. It's like a neon pastel. So they are calling this Neon Stripes, but it's got the black mixed in with it. I don't think I've ever had this particular color from the stripes. So you know, Karen Simply Soft, Red Heart Super Saver, they're number 4 medium weight worsted weight yarn. 100% acrylic. All of it's 100% acrylic. So then in another bag, they had some Red Heart with Love. Now, the Red Heart with Love, sorry, my camera's not focusing. It is still a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn, but I usually find that their solid colors are a bit thicker, and they're almost a number 5 bulky. Almost. But I do like the Red Heart with Love. I like how soft it is. It's softer than Super Saver, so I appreciate that. And this is called Deep Blues. And there was 2 brand new skeins in there. And I thought it would work well for my Patchwork Squares blanket that I still... So I did give myself a little bit of leeway with the yarn buying ban, that when I am at the thrift store, if I can find some vintage variegated yarn, I'm free to go ahead and buy it as long as it's a fair price, okay? So, you know, being on a yarn buying ban, that's great because I really don't have a lot of room, and it turns out I have more yarn than I realized. That I did give myself permission that if I did come across any more vintage colors, it was okay to go ahead and pick it up. So while this one is not vintage, you guys know how much I love my variegated yarn. So I'm glad that I found this before my self-imposed yarn buying ban started on July 1st. Now, if I do fail at yarn buying and book buying, I'm not going to come and tell you just yet. It'll probably be weeks or months before I come to you and confess. Because I would feel really bad doing this and then failing a week later. I don't know. So, anyway. I did find another vintage book, Vanna. So you know Vanna is Vanna White, and she is the lady who turns the letters on Wheel of Fortune, which is a game show here in the United States. And Vanna is also a crocheter, and she developed her own line of yarn that's been sold at Lion Brand for, I don't know, many years. So I found this vintage book, Vanna's Favorite Gift Afghans. What kills me about this book that I think is so funny. She's on the front with this blanket, and she's got some ribbon in her hands. Now, I don't know what she's doing with the ribbon for this crocheted blanket, but this pair of scissors, I mean, my goodness, I would never, never do that. I would never sit with a pair of scissors over top of a crochet project like that. I wouldn't do it. You know, so I don't know what they were thinking way back in the day when they made these books and they had these women pose like that. I don't get it. So let's see. I always love to look up the publishing date to see how old it is. 1998. And actually not too long ago. It was, what, 27 years ago. 1998, fun fact, is when I met my husband. And after our first date, we have been connected at the hip ever since. It took us 4 years to get married, but we met in 1998. And that's the anniversary I celebrate. I celebrate the anniversary of our first date in April of 1998. He celebrates the anniversary of the wedding, which was May 2002. So I think that's kind of funny that we do two different celebrations for anniversaries. So, you know, there's Vanna in these pictures. I know there's a little bit of glare because I am sitting in front of a window that's got some afternoon sun, but look how short her hair was at the time. It's like total soccer mom in the suburbs in the 90s. But there are some pretty blankets in here, and I would like to be able to sit and go through them. Like this one, I think I've seen my grandmother crochet blankets like that with the flowers in the middle and in the squares. That's fun stuff, you know. So, turns out I did have yarn, and I did have a book to show you. I love looking in the book section in the thrift store, in the craft section, and finding vintage quilting books and knitting books. I even love looking at knit stuff on Pinterest. I have a board for knitting because I love knitting. I don't know how to do it, but I love it. Look at this. Look at the texture on this blanket. They're mitered squares with bobbles, maybe, or puff stitches. What's the pattern say? No, it doesn't say. Oh, okay. All right. So it's not bobbles or puff stitches. What they did is they did a single crochet and then a treble crochet or a triple and then a single. So it brings that treble stitch down and it puffs it out a little bit. But I love that. I love the colors. I love the texture. Oh, that's really neat. Okay. So yeah, I picked up a book about Vanna's favorite gift afghans for $2.49. That's pretty awesome. And then the blanket that I was making for the friend of my youngest child. That blanket is done. I did spider stitch, and I did a lot of leftover yarns in my stash, and then some new yarns from my stash. Started working on the border. Wasn't happy with the stitch I was using, but didn't take the stitch out and just kept going. So please do not ask me what I did for the border. It's more about the color placement than it is about the stitches. Because this blanket just did not cooperate with me. I think sometimes it had a mind of its own. So the blanket is done. It will fit a twin size bed. Hopefully you guys can hear me because I don't have my microphone on today. So there we go. I am going to do a separate video just on this blanket, okay? But here's the border. I went with this Redwood Heather from Burnett Super Value. And then I went with this Carrot Orange from Red Heart Super Saver. And then this teal that's called Jade from Red Heart Super Saver. So it's very bold for this border. Okay, but I love it. So I think I did like 4 rounds of the red, 2 rounds of the orange, or 3. And definitely 3 or 4 rounds of the teal blue. I don't know. There we go. And that's the end of the blanket right there. So all the yarn tails are sewn in. Sorry, I was just trying to put it back on my chair. All the yarn tails are sewn in, and it's completely done. I would like to wash it because it's got cat fur on it, because you know, my kitty cats love to hang out with me when I'm crocheting. So now that I've shown you the yarn, it can go upstairs in my yarn closet, my crochet closet, and then the book can go on my shelf with my other pattern books and crochet books, and then the blanket, I can go stick it in the washer and get it washed, because this kid that I made the blanket for, their birthday is actually next week, and they'll be turning 18, and then right after that they'll be heading off to college. So I got it done in time for college, and I got it done in time for the 18th birthday. I hope they like it, because really the blanket does say a lot about me with my love of color, but I hope the kid likes it. Let's see, how about some regular life updates, huh? Had to go get a drink of water. Can you see my face? I've been out a little bit in the sun. I get very splotchy and very red. Summertime. I love the sunshine. I do not love the heat. I really don't like the heat and the humidity of summer. I really do not. I spend most of my time inside in air conditioning. Let's see, my husband's doing really well with his heart condition. He's doing everything that the doctors have told him to do, and he stopped drinking caffeine, although I don't think the caffeine had too much to do with it, but he just wanted to be on the safe side with it, so no more caffeine for him. I went and saw my family doctor recently, because I see him every 6 months or so, since I do have that type 2 diabetes. My thyroid is overactive, and heart palpitations. So I see my family doctor every 6 months. I was due for my pneumonia vaccine. Last time I had it was, what, more than 10 years ago. It was Prevnar 13. Whenever I've had a vaccination done, I never have any side effects or symptoms or anything. They never bother me. But my goodness, did the pneumonia vaccine get to me. So it was just last Tuesday. Wednesday morning when I get up, my arm was so swollen. It looked like there was a baseball in there. And the skin all around it was so red and inflamed. It was warm to the touch. And so I hit the internet, and the internet says, "Are you running a fever?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel any different than I normally do. Well, I went to I keep all the stuff in a drawer in the kitchen, and I used a thermometer, and sure enough, I was running a fever at 101.2. So I called the doctor's office. But in the meantime, I took some Tylenol or acetaminophen to bring down the fever, and I grabbed an ice pack and put the ice pack on my arm. But that was hard though, because my arm was so sensitive that the weight of the ice pack just caused me a tremendous amount of pain. So I do get a call back from the doctor's office hours later. They're saying it's perfectly normal, that this does happen to some people. And I'm like, yeah, but it never happens to me. It never happens to me. And they're like, we understand that. We get that. We understand you might be panicking a little bit, but it's perfectly normal. Take some Tylenol, which I already did. Use the ice pack, which I was already doing. And you might feel a little rundown for a couple days. Well, that was Wednesday, and I was feeling rundown all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, all day Friday. By Friday night, my arm, I wanted to scratch at it. It was so bad, like a bug bite. So I'm like, okay, it feels a bit like an allergy, so let me take some of my allergy medicine. And the allergy medicine makes me sleepy, so I took the allergy medicine Friday night, woke up Saturday morning and felt so much better. I don't know why they don't think to tell you that it could be an allergic reaction to take your allergy meds. So yeah, the allergy meds, it took at least half of the swelling went down. Some of the redness had gone. It was still warm to the touch, and it was still very tender, but the allergy meds, and it just made me feel so much better. And then again, by Sunday, I was feeling even better. So today is Wednesday, and I'm no longer suffering any side effects. But that's my story for the week, okay? And then my youngest is 18. You know that they just graduated high school. They're getting ready for Walnut Hill College, which is culinary school, to go to bakery and pastry arts. This kid comes home the other day, a friend, of a brother, of a sister, there was an outside cat. It was a mommy cat. She had kittens. She got hit by a car. The mommy cat didn't make it, so the 3 kittens are homeless. Can we possibly take in one? And I'm like, oh, I never turned down an orphaned kitten. Never do I ever turn down an orphaned kitten. So I'm like, yeah, sure, we can take one. And then they come back to me later and say, well, how about 2? I'm like, okay, I can do 2. I'm a cat lady. I try to keep 2 in my house as my limit, but I can hardly ever say no to my youngest. But the people who have these kittens say that the kittens are only about 6 weeks old, so they want to nurse them and get them over the trauma of losing their mom, and then look for homes for them in about 4 to 6 weeks. And I told my kid, I said, when people do that, more than likely they're going to keep the kittens themselves. So I understand that you want to help, you want to give them a home, but try not to get your hopes up too much, because when people do that, they typically keep them. So we might be getting kittens, or we might not. I don't know. And I don't even know how Arlo and Bandit would like that. And then I realized that Bandit is 5 years old. He just turned 5, and his adoption date was July 31st. So it'll be 5 years since we adopted Bandit. And he was only just under 4 months old. So Bandit's 5, and that means Arlo is about 6, maybe 6.5, because we adopted Arlo the same day we adopted Bandit, but Arlo was older. So while Bandit was a 3-month-old kitten, Arlo was about a year, maybe a year and a half. So I cannot believe it's been 5 years with these 2 cats, and how much Arlo has changed. I mean, we can tell that Arlo had come from an abusive situation, because he was very hand shy, and he had so many quirks, and I don't know, but he has come such a long way. I mean, you guys see him, you see how he rolls around in the back of my videos. He's not with me right now at the moment. I'll go show you. We have a new cat tower. My middle child, the daughter, who's 20 years old, she works in a pet store. And she texted me one day and said, you know, they've got cat trees or cat towers on sale. And then with my employee discount and then the manager discount, we can get it for a really good price. So $150 down to $60. I bought it. Okay. And it's got 2 little baskets on it for the cats to sleep in the basket. It's got some scratching post abilities. But you know how cats are. A lot of times you'll buy them the fanciest beds and the fanciest cat trees and towers, and they never touch them. Okay. But I was smart. I stuck it behind my couch, right? I have my couches up against the windows. Pulled my couch out away from the windows. Put the cat tree right there, right? So I'm thinking the cats will get up there and they'll look out the windows. That's what cats love to do. But no. They didn't touch it for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden one day, Arlo sleeping in the lowest little basket. It's right behind my side of the couch. Because when my husband and I sit on the couch at night to watch TV or movies, I always sit in the same spot, and he always sits in the same spot. So where does Arlo sleep now? In the spot that's right behind me. I'm going to go, oh, I can't take you because my camera's plugged in. Crap. Okay, so I'm standing up, and I'm behind my computer desk. So there's my couch, right? I sit there with all the pillows. My husband sits here with all of his blankets, right? Because my husband's always cold. There's the cat tree. You see that? There's a basket there that's got a blanket in it. And then there's one there. And there's Arlo. So he's always behind me when I'm sitting on the couch at night with my husband. Arlo was never supposed to be my cat. My daughter adopted him. He was not supposed to be mine, but since I'm the one that's home during the day, I work from home. I've been a stay-at-home mom. Now that my kids are 18, 20, and 22, and one of them's moved out of the house, what's my job title now? Because I don't know. I had to fill out paperwork recently at the eye doctor, and I was so stuck on occupation. Am I still a stay-at-home mom? I don't ever plan on going back out and getting a job. I have no need of a job. And I don't want a job. And I don't work well with other people. And I don't like having a boss. There's so many reasons why I just... I did work for a living. I did. I started out with data entry. And then I moved into the medical field and worked in a hospital. So, but... what's my job title now? I mean, did I move from stay-at-home mom to housewife? You know, I don't know. I had somebody once say to me, she was a little older than me, and she said, "You're not a housewife. You did not marry your house." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sister. Yeah, I did. 30-year mortgage at $1,200 a month. I damn well married my house. It's okay to say that I'm a housewife." I wasn't insulted, but for some reason she was. Like, I didn't marry. Yes, I did marry my house. I married my husband. I married my house. I bought my retirement home when I was 30 years old. Yeah, I married my house. She got so insulted. Oh, the way times have changed. I don't know. So, I think I just needed somebody to talk to, and I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm glad you let me talk like this, because, today was a rough day. Like, yesterday, I was feeling a little dark, okay, and the day before, but today, I'm having problems with my minivan. It's July, just like my husband's car blew up July of last year in the heat. Mine's overheating. It's got smoke coming out from underneath of the hood. And I was like, I can't lose my minivan. I love my minivan, and it gives me so much freedom. I don't like being without a car. But my minivan, and I love my minivan so much, but there's something wrong with it, and it just overheated on the way home from dropping the one kid off, because their car's in the shop, so they've been using mine. I think I needed some company today, so thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here for everything, and my chaos, and my mental health, and everything in between. You guys are the best. So, this blanket that I made for the friend of my kid, I poured everything into this blanket. All of my heart and soul went into this blanket. All of my love, all my happy thoughts and feelings went into this. And unfortunately, when I make a blanket for a particular person, kind of empties my cup a little bit. Do you know what I mean? You know how people talk about how their cup runneth over, or their gas tank is empty. My cup is empty and my gas tank is empty. So I have to do some self-care. And for me right now, that means not touching my crochet hook. I cannot go straight into another project when this one took so much out of me. Now, I'm happy that it took so much out of me, because it means something to me, and it's going to mean something to the kid that it goes to. So I don't have a problem with that at all. All my love went into that. So it just means that I can't start another project. I could maybe pick up one that I was working on, like maybe my Lion Brand ice cream yarn blanket that I'm still working on the border on. Maybe I could pick that up and work on that, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to put my hook down. It'll only be for a couple days. It might be for a week, but what I'm going to do is what's worked for me in the past is to go to my books, okay, and just find a book that I can lose myself in, and then what that will do is that will help me fill my cup back up and fill my gas tank back up and get me back to my normal self, full of love that I can give to the outside world, you know. So I got to do a little bit of self-care right now. I think that's why one of the reasons why I stopped making blankets for people that I know, because I put so much of myself into them, and I lose so much of myself that you know, say it again, my cup was empty, my gas tank is empty, so I've got to fill myself back up. So, yeah, so I'm going to take a small little break from working on projects, just for now. But what I'll keep doing is still organizing and sorting, because it turns out that is phase 1, and phase 2 is doing an inventory and cataloging everything. And yeah, Ravelry is a good place to put down your whole yarn stash, and I will probably utilize that. But I also like to have a secondary spreadsheet type database on my own computer that doesn't need the internet. And that's what I'm actually getting caught up on my book stuff, because I've been a little bit behind on a database that I created for all the books that I own. So I was gonna show you real quick, if you guys don't mind, if you don't mind me going off on a tangent on my books. This is OneNote on my Windows computer. I have everything listed alphabetically, and then author's last name goes first, and then the books they wrote, like Douglas Adams wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then a book cover. So I've been creating my own database for all the books that I own. So if I ever want to know, like with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there was like 5 short stories to make up the one big story. I do have them in a bind up, but the individual stories, I don't have them all yet individually. And then, you know, I don't know. It's, I love making a database full of information. It's just, it's the geek in me. So I'm going to be spending some time with my computer, with my database on books, with my bookshelves, and hopefully I can put myself back together a little bit. And I hope all of that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully. I keep turning my head. I've been to the eye doctor. I keep turning my head because I have a problem with my right eye, okay? So I'm sorry that you see it in the viewfinder. At first I just thought I was losing my peripheral vision on the corners and the edges. It turns out I have a cataract in my right eye, and it's big, and it takes up all of the eyesight in my right eye. And I mean, I knew there was something wrong, but I hadn't realized it was that bad. So like, I'm having a hard time seeing on this side, but this side is fine. My left eye is doing the job for both, okay? So I do have a consultation appointment with a specialist towards the end of July, and they're talking cataract surgery to fix it. So I think that's all of my updates for today. And I really, really do. Guys, I love you guys so much. In the comment section, you are awesome, awesome people, okay? And I love you all so very much. Thank you for hanging out with me for my weekly crochet update. I haven't done a lot of crocheting because I've been working on this blanket non-stop for a month now, a little over a month. But so I will do a separate video on it to give you all the yarn details that I can remember, the size of the blanket, you know, how much yarn did I use, what kind of stitches did I do, you know, and how long it took me to make it. I will do a separate video on that before I give it to the kid that it's going to. Alright, so that is it for me for today. I love you guys, and I will catch you in the comment section and then on Sunday with my next part of my sorting and organizing, okay? Love you guys. Bye.